In the small town of Brindlewood, there stood an ancient house on Willow Lane, known as the Thornwood Manor. Abandoned for over 50 years, it had become the stuff of local legend, a place whispered about in hushed tones by townsfolk and children alike. No one dared go near it, for it was said to be cursed, haunted by malevolent spirits that hungered for the living. One foggy autumn evening, a group of friends, Emma, Jake, Lisa, and Ben, decided to explore the Thornwood Manor. They were thrill-seekers, drawn to the unknown, and the rumors only heightened their curiosity. Armed with flashlights and a video camera, they approached the dilapidated house, its windows like empty eye sockets staring into their souls. As they crossed the threshold, a chill enveloped them. The air inside was thick with a palpable sense of dread, and the faint smell of decay hung in the air. The floorboards creaked under their weight, echoing through the silent rooms. Cobwebs draped the corners, and the peeling wallpaper seemed to whisper as it moved slightly in the draught. They started their exploration in the grand foyer, where a massive chandelier hung precariously from the ceiling. The walls were adorned with portraits of the Thornwood family, their eyes seeming to follow the intruders with an unsettling intensity. Emma felt a shiver run down her spine as she glanced at the painted faces, frozen in expressions of eternal sorrow. Moving deeper into the house, they entered the drawing room. An ancient piano sat in the corner, its keys yellowed with age. Suddenly, a single note rang out, clear and haunting. They all froze, the sound reverberating through the silence. Jake, the bravest among them, approached the piano, but no one was there. The keys were untouched.
"Let's keep moving,"
Ben suggested, his voice betraying a hint of fear. They made their way to the grand staircase, ascending slowly. Halfway up, the temperature dropped abruptly, and their breath became visible in the cold air. At the top of the stairs, they found a long hallway lined with closed doors. A feeling of oppressive darkness seemed to seep from behind each one.
"Which one should we try first?"
Lisa whispered, her voice trembling. Jake pointed to the door at the end of the hallway.
"That one."
They approached cautiously, each step echoing in the silence. Jake turned the handle, and the door creaked open to reveal a bedroom frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture and an old, tattered bedspread gave the room a melancholic air. On the bedside table sat a porcelain doll, its glass eyes staring blankly. Emma stepped forward, reaching for the doll. As her fingers brushed its cold surface, a child's voice echoed through the room, soft and sorrowful.
"Why did you leave me?"
The friends spun around, but no one was there. The voice seemed to come from the walls themselves. Panic set in, and they backed out of the room, closing the door behind them.
"Let's get out of here,"
Ben urged, but as they turned to leave, the hallway seemed to stretch endlessly. The doors on either side began to rattle violently, as if something was trying to break through. The house groaned and creaked, an unearthly sound that filled their ears. They ran, stumbling down the stairs, their flashlights flickering. The front door loomed ahead, but as they reached it, it slammed shut with a deafening bang. They were trapped. A cold, sinister laughter echoed through the house, and the chandelier above began to sway. The portraits on the walls seemed to shift, their sorrowful expressions twisting into malevolent grins. Shadows gathered in the corners, creeping closer, their shapes twisting into ghastly figures. Desperate, they ran towards the back of the house, hoping to find another way out. They burst into the kitchen, where the air was thick with the smell of rot. The old rusted stove flared to life with an eerie green flame, and the cupboards banged open and shut. From the darkness of the pantry, a figure emerged. It was a woman, dressed in a tattered, blood-stained gown. Her eyes were hollow sockets, her mouth stretched into a ghastly, unnatural smile. She reached out with skeletal hands, her nails like claws.
"Join us,"
she hissed, her voice a chorus of agony. In a frenzy of terror, they fought their way past her, stumbling into the basement. The door slammed shut behind them, plunging them into darkness. They fumbled for their flashlights, the beams revealing a room filled with old, dusty furniture and broken toys. The basement walls were covered in writing, scrawled in a dark, sticky substance. It was a diary of madness, detailing the final days of the Thornwood family. Words of despair and anger told of a curse, a ritual gone wrong, and the spirits that now roamed the house, seeking revenge. A cold hand gripped Emma's ankle, pulling her down. She screamed, kicking frantically, but the grip was relentless. The others tried to help, but they too were grabbed by unseen hands, dragged into the shadows. As the darkness closed in, the last thing they heard was the child's voice, whispering through the gloom, "Now you'll never leave." The townsfolk found the house empty the next day, the friends never seen again. Thornwood Manor stood silent, its windows dark, but on quiet nights, the faint sounds of their screams could still be heard, echoing through the haunted halls. The legend of Thornwood Manor lived on, a warning to all who dared to disturb the spirits within.